that's a limiting belief and a limiting thought I have in my current situation.
The moment you're in now is what you were trying to look for 5 years ago.
You will never live somebody else's life, no matter how much you try to.
I reinforce that by writing it, by saying it, by taking a picture, by doing something, and by telling somebody about it too.
And that helps us be grateful for what we have.
You're listening to the Apology Void podcast.
And today, I'm just going straight in there. We are talking about the title, The Grass is Not Always Greener.
Oh, and isn't that the absolute truth? The grass is not always greener. Like, you got to appreciate where you're at, because if you're just always looking at the other side of the fence, you don't actually know what's over there. You could walk over there and just step in piles of dog shit one after the next.
Quite literally. You summed up at the end. No, that's it. I feel like I have so much to say on this topic, though, because it keeps coming up in my life as well.
Okay.
And when I'm hearing people talking and things, it just keeps, okay, it's not literal. Well, it is. So you're literally going to step over the fence and step in dog shit. But metaphorically, you might not step in dog shit, but it just might not be as grand as you think it's going to be.
Yeah. You never know what is actually happening on the other side of things. You know, we talk about this with social media all of the time, how people post very curated feeds of their lives and what is going on in their lives and what their things look like. When we see people or jobs, or we see situations or events that we can't go to, you know, sometimes we have this envy that happens, but we don't know all of the other parts and pieces until you're in it. And then you realize, oh, maybe that wasn't exactly what I had pictured it to be. There's a lot more under the surface. Yeah.
I didn't even think about, that's a really good extension, because I didn't even think about social media when I was thinking about this morning. It was ticking over in my head. Where I was coming from is that sometimes we're not happy in our own situation because we don't take the time to appreciate the positives in our situation, or I don't know, it could be related to anything. It could be like a job. It could be like a house. It could be like a sporting club. I don't know, anything that you're involved in. You see other people's success, and that can be on social media, actually. Like, you see other people in their sporting club winning all the time. Yeah. Oh, they're much better than us, or we're not as good. I don't even play sports. I'm not sure where I'm going while I'm choosing sport, but you think, I'm going to change clubs, right? And then you go there and they're all really mean.
Yeah.
Like, just as an example, you know, like they might be winning all the time, but they're all not nice people. So actually it's not better. Well, you might think it's better, but sometimes, you know, you're not grateful for your teammates or something because they're all friendly and really nice, and that fosters a good environment. But because you're always looking to the other side, you're looking to that other club who's always winning, you haven't taken the time to go really appreciate your teammates. Completely made up scenario that was. As I said, I don't even play sport, but it's just what came to me at the time. I think it relates to a little bit last week about the grounding. Like taking the time in our day to sit back, take a moment, a breath there. And that helps us be grateful for what we have and not look for something more, I guess.
Yeah. For a very like real world scenario, I lived in a smaller house with a longer drive and then moved into a bigger house with a shorter drive. And, you know, you could have looked at that bigger house as the grass is greener. It's going to be so much better. It's going to be so much greater and everything. But what I didn't realize were all of the things I would have to deal with that came with that. All of the extra maintenance, all of the extra yard work, all of the extra things that go wrong, all of the extra spaces to clean. And I didn't appreciate all of the things that I had in that smaller space. And the time on my drive, I missed. When I stopped driving so much, I actually missed my time listening to NPR and listening to all of the news stories all day that I would get. I was so up to date on everything. And when I lost that, I didn't realize how much I had loved and appreciated that in the moment. And it's one of those things where, it is really important to ground ourselves in where we're at, in what's going on, in what's happening, and have that gratitude for the everyday things that we are experiencing right here, right now, and the situation that we're in. It's probably better than we think.
100%. Absolutely. And I think that it's sort of, the saying is the grass is not always greener. But then there's another saying that follows on from that, is that the grass is greener where you water it. And that is, again, not literal, but it's thinking about, okay, I'm in this situation, say in my smaller house, being grateful that I don't have a big space to clean, that there isn't any maintenance, that I get to, create my own little space that is me and it reflects my personality, rather than thinking, oh, bigger, I want bigger, I want better. It's similar to, and I've read this a lot and heard this a lot in talks, is that you'll never be happy when, I'll be happy when. That will never happen if you're not happy in the current time, because you don't actually understand the feeling of that contentment and happiness in that moment. So even though when you get a bigger house or when you change sporting clubs or when you change jobs, you won't be happy because you just want the next best thing.
Right.
So the grass is always going to be greener on the other side because you'll be always looking for something else that you don't have in the current space and time, if that makes sense.
You're always chasing something. You're always chasing after something, as opposed to recognizing what you've already achieved and what you've already done and what you already have. The moment you're in now is what you were trying to look for 5 years ago or 3 years ago. And I think it's so important to not only recognize those things, but actually physically write them down. Remind yourself, take a second to write down the things that you are grateful for, or the things that you have achieved, or that past self would be proud of in this moment, so that you can stop again, looking forward, running toward the next goalpost when you've already met this one. You've already met so many of those. And it's really a fascinating thing. I love it. I love looking at the things that you've achieved. I make a list of them for my team and for myself personally on a very regular basis.
That's really good that you take the time to do that, because a lot of us don't. Time just goes by and we sort of forget. Well, I do. And I think, gosh, okay, what have I achieved? And actually I did this goal setting call at the start of the year. So I'd set my goals, but I thought I'll jump on this and I'll just sort of reiterate and cement the goals for the year. And the person, who was leading the call was saying sometimes she finds it really hard to remember back a year ago. So she gets out her phone and scrolls back and looks at all the photos, and that triggers a reminder. Oh yeah, I did that. That's a little bit off topic, but just a side note. Yes, writing down your achievements, if you don't do that regularly, trigger your memory with your phone. Top tip.
Yeah, no, I do that with both my photos and my calendar. And I started doing that on December 31st. I started going through all my pictures, and I take probably too many pictures. I'm not going to lie. So it took me an hour to even get to July. And at that point, I had a massive list of all of these incredible things that my last year had been, and it had only encapsulated 6 months. It was so magical.
I must admit that I find that equally stressful that it took an hour to get to July, but also amazing. I'm torn, shit, an hour? You're 2 hours going through your whole year, but also how great that it takes you 2 hours to go through all the achievements.
Yeah,
I'm torn. I'm stressed and I'm excited.
I haven't
Same
gone back
time.
and done the other half of the year because it took a lot of time. I did start making an album, though, of like highlights from 2025 so that when I start looking
That's so
back at it, if
funny.
I get cynical or like, oh, last year was not good, I can go and look at this album of pictures that says the opposite. It's the opposite story completely and says, wow, last year was an incredible year.
Yeah.
Tough moments, but beautiful year.
Mm, mm. And that is like we get in this doom, I guess, doom mindset. Oh, last year was a really bad year. I hope this year is going to be great. Because maybe something bad or maybe something happened at the end of your year. It just
Yeah.
dampens the whole thing, right? And makes you not grateful and think that you want something bigger and better. But then when you take the time to go back and sit with it, then no, that's actually not the big picture. That's more a micro component of your life, or maybe not micro, but a micro-ish component of your life. So I guess, we're saying here, sitting here saying that the grass is not always greener. Sit in it, be grateful for what you have. But how do we do that? That's a lot easier said than done. So I think it's important to know how we go about doing that. And journaling is a great place to start. You've already touched on that. Writing down, whether it's your achievements, whether it's just your thoughts.
Yeah.
Say if you journal your thoughts and the negativity does come up. Oh, I felt really down today because I really want a bigger house with an extra bedroom because I don't have enough space here. That comes out on the page. Let that come out on the page. Maybe read back, your journal and think, okay, so that's a limiting belief and a limiting thought I have in my current situation. Turn that around into a positive. So what we just said, my small space makes it that I don't have to clean 24/7 and I can go and enjoy a nice nature walk, or I can read a book instead of having to clean. I'm really grateful for my space.
Yeah.
So sometimes journaling is a really good way to do that, I guess.
Yeah, journaling's one of my favorite ways. That and taking pictures of small things even that bring me joy. So I have a mini disco ball in my living room and it lights up a particular corner of this room. And when I see it, it just brings me so much joy. So I take pictures of those small things and I reinforce the positives when I feel them. I reinforce that by writing it, by saying it, by taking a picture, by doing something, and by telling somebody about it too. So I'll share those things on social media. I share the bad too, but I share the positive things as well so that I'm grateful for them in that very moment. And I get to take that opportunity to do that for myself. That and journaling are huge for me.
And it does give perspective, for sure. And I think another way to do this is perhaps it will take an experience in another thing. So moving house is probably a bit extreme. I'm just putting it out there. Let's not get too carried away. But I'll use it as an example, right? So say if you're in this small apartment, and the reason I'm using it is because this seems to be the theme. You're in the small apartment and you're like, I want a bigger house, right? So you go and get that bigger house. Then sit and notice. Notice what, it's a really bad example because this is very unrealistic. I'm going to rewind. I'm going to go for a job. Let's talk about a job, right? So you think there's this better place to work, right? So say if you go there and you get another job, that's easier than buying another house or renting another house. Go and getting a job. Sit with it and go, okay, maybe pros and cons list, or do I feel better? And if you don't, really recognize that and admit to yourself that that's okay, because that's the trigger. Not just go, oh, it's great because now I'm at this place, now I can go to this next place. So don't look at it like a stepping stone. Don't look at it like the next. Go, if you catch yourself out saying, oh, yeah, but when I go to this next, go, okay, so this is a moment for me to go, the grass isn't always greener. comparatively to where I was before, maybe that other place has a lot to offer that I didn't know at the time. Because it is okay to be wrong, and I'm air quoting. It's okay to be wrong and think, maybe what I thought would be better isn't actually better. I just need to water where I was. I need to foster the environment where I was and come from a place of more gratitude and more appreciation for where I was, not keep looking for better. So experience, I guess, bottom line for that very long-winded story is experience the change, but reflect on the change. Don't just experience and go, oh, yep, okay, cool. So I did that. I'm doing something better now. Yep, okay, good. And just stick to the better.
Better. Yes, it does.
It makes a lot of sense. Going 1,000 miles an hour today. It's going 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm trying to articulate all the thoughts. Blah.
You have a few things going on in your world, so it makes sense, and it's totally fine.
We're here for it, guys. We are here for it.
It's so true. It's so, so true. You know, one thing I was thinking of is the saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And much like, you know, grass grows where you water it, comparing what you have to what somebody else has is simply going to, you know, keep you from watering your current grass. I don't know if that makes sense, but what I'm thinking of is someone in my life that I used to envy. I used to envy some of the things that they had, their home, how, you know, perfect everything seemed. But I have come to find out that that's not entirely the case. And honestly, there's so much in my life that I know they will never experience. And it was when I started to recognize the things that I'm truly grateful for that all of that comparison and envy totally disappeared, because I started to say how much I actually had that was so incredibly beautiful. So incredibly beautiful. It's just we live very different lives, and that is okay. Like, I don't want to live that life knowing a lot more of the details. I don't want to live that life. I have no desire. No, thank you. I love where I'm at. I love my partner. I love the life that we have, the time that we make, and we have watered the space that we are in together. As opposed to looking outside of like our partnership and relationship for better things, we take the time to really build on our relationship with each other and with ourselves so that we can create something absolutely stunning. And that is magical. Because the grass ain't greener outside of here. I've dealt with that and it's not real.
True, though. And I think you've just nailed it, because it does come down to even just a feeling, like you said, you know, we all live different lives. You will never live somebody else's life, no matter how much you try to force it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at someone's life, even if you think it's picture perfect, it's not, by the way, even if you think it is and you cannot find fault, even if you cannot find fault, you will never live their life.
Correct.
So there's actually no point trying, because it will just lead to that. When I have that, when I do this, when this happens, when I drive that car, all of those things, it will just keep on going and going, because you're trying to emulate a life of someone else because you're comparing. The comparison thing absolutely is the thief of joy. That's one of my favorite sayings. But it does just come down to that. Robs you. You will never live the life of somebody else, is what I guess bottom line.
Yeah.
If you keep trying, you'll never be in the moment. Gratitude is another one. Journaling and gratitude, I feel like come hand in hand, but they probably don't. Writing down things that you're grateful for, your gratitude every day. It can be so small. Like, I do my gratitude in the mornings when I wake up. I just wake up. Sometimes I say them out loud. Nick and I do it together. Or sometimes if he's not here or he's sleeping, I'll just think them and sit in it and lay in bed. And it can be something so small. But if you get into the habit, the little things come up in terms of there's obvious ones. So I'll say like, grateful for like the warm bed, and I'm grateful for a roof over my head, and etc. But then the little glimmers. Have you heard of that thing before, glimmers? Like looking for
Yeah.
the glimmers? Yeah. They'll come up because you're in the habit. And then they're the ones that make you smile the most.
Like these
Guaranteed.
conversations.
This is a glimmer. It's a glimmer in the day. I
It's a
remember when I
highlight.
first heard about that. Do you want tell me about? Have you heard about the glimmers? So the glimmer, like looking for
Yes.
the glimmers in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go.
I have. They're pretty magical. And it's just those little moments throughout your day. Man, it could be like I go for a walk every day, or every day that it is a reasonable enough temperature and my body feels good enough. How about that? I go for walks as often as possible.
Reasonable
there-
temperatures probably aren't that common right now for you. Just saying.
Today it's pretty warm. Today it's above freezing. So that's great. But a
I love
glimmer
things
in
that's
my
warm.
day today was when I found little crocus popping up on the side of my house. And it's the very, very, very first sign of spring is when those bulbs start to emerge from the little bits of snow and everything, and you get to see them. That was such a glorious glimmer. And like finding mushrooms somewhere and it being warm enough for me to put down a cardboard barrier in part of my garden. Like all of that was amazing. Having the energy to go for a walk today, highlight. But when I go for walks, I look for little things that make me smile, whether it's a bird or a brightly colored berry bush or a neighbor that says hello. I don't care what it is. I look for those things. And when I smile about them, I recognize them. I'll even say hello to the wildlife around me. Hello, squirrel, just because it's a little spot of joy.
Yeah, I love that. Just looking for the small things. I actually don't know what a crocus is, so can you enlighten me? What is a crocus?
It's an early spring flower that's very low to the ground, but has purple, white, and gold petals. I'll have to share a picture with you of these little
do.
flowers, but they're the first flowers of spring.
Surely we
And
don't
they-
call them something different. Surely that's an actual flower. I just don't know what it is.
I don't know. You might call
No,
them
I don't know.
something different. I mean, do you have daffodils and tulips and
Yeah.
okay,
Crocus
then-
sounds like I'm going to croak it.
No, they come in little clusters. They're so cute, and
Little
they just
bulbs, cute.
yeah, they're just really precious.
You're going to send me a picture right now, aren't you?
I'm pulling up a picture right now. You bet I am.
Right,
I don't
let's
know
see
if you
it.
can
I
like
can't really make it out.
it might
No.
not focus. But you know
Yeah,
what?
it's not
It's
focusing.
crocus, man. I'm gonna
It's
send you a
crocus.
picture.
Send me a picture,
That's
and that
that.
was your glimmer. But glimmers are everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and we just don't take the time to go.
It's true.
Yeah.
One other exercise I do on a regular basis is when I start to feel feelings of envy, jealousy, or want, I stop myself and ask why. And I start to break that down as to what's going on and what the deeper thing is there. And then really dive into, is this something I actually want or need? Or am I simply not having gratitude for where I'm at? Because when you start to actually break those feelings down, it's not usually the actual thing that you're initially envious of. It's something else. So if you dive into it a little bit deeper and start to really debunk things, it really comes up in an interesting way.
And that's just about, we've spoken a lot about this before. It's just about taking the time to reflect. And that's how we grow. It's not, this won't happen in 5 minutes, as with everything that we come up with. It's like, and we still do it. Like, I still do it. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
this is shit. Like, I just want this. And then I'm like, hang on a minute. Just calm down. You're just operating on this high stress level, and you think that's going to solve all your problems when it's not. So it's about
Right.
just reining it back in. And when we are in those emotions, like when we are stressed or overwhelmed or anger or, that, like you said, that jealousy feeling, jealousy is a very low frequency emotion. So, when we're in those low frequency feelings, it does bring up the grass is always greener. But
Yeah.
when we're operating from a place of high frequency, like love and gratitude and appreciation, those feelings won't be as common.
Yeah.
If at all.
Absolutely.
If you're operating in that place of love and gratitude, you won't feel that. Like you won't feel it's better, bigger, better, greater, more fun. It just won't happen.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of times that just to elevate that frequency just requires some actual restructuring of your thoughts. You have to recognize that you're having those thoughts and feelings first and where you're at, what's causing them, and then how we can change that, how we can actually shift that. If there is a physical need in your life, how can we meet that? But being jealous of someone else isn't going to help that in any way, shape, or form. And being envious of what somebody else has isn't going to help that. That's just going to keep you, again, in these very, very low level feelings, as opposed to the more high level, active love, doing, and self-improvement, self-worth, all of that part where you can actually make a change, make a difference, and create a better life for yourself. But it requires that active thought and active work to get there. And one of the things that has been most challenging for me is thoughts and negative thoughts or envy surrounding body and body image. And I did not realize until I was at a much, much lower weight how detrimental that actually was to my physical capacity, and how it would negatively impact me. And my pain level was higher. And it's been very interesting to recognize the difference between those places and not be envious of a different part of my life or a different body, and go back to those feelings of what it actually was like, as opposed to how I feel a little healthier now that I have a little healthier weight and my body is in a much better place. So it comes in all shapes and forms, and you really, really, really have to do the cognitive work to get yourself in a better headspace so we can appreciate what we have.
That's an amazing example. And I think we should have led with that, but
Sorry.
maybe not sporting
bad.
teams, but no. But I'm glad we got there, because that is an incredible example that I think, God, I'll even say as far as 90%, if not greater, experience. I'll be happy when I'm skinnier. I'll be happy when I'm fitter. I'll be happy when I look like that. Like, I think those thoughts come up for most people, whereas some people might not experience the job or the house or the team. But the feelings of body image, I think. So just sit in it, take the time. Our goal this year, guys, is to keep these a bit more bite-sized episodes for you. So we're going to wrap up, but it's just coming back to what you think, reflecting on it, and trying to change it in the moment. Catch yourself and water your grass.
Water your grass, mulch it, fertilize, do the things to take care of it, aerate your lawn.
Make it amazing. Make your mind your lawn and water it.
Water your lawn. Have a great day.
Bye.
Goodbye.